Hi, my name is Chris Evans, and for 6 years I gave my wife loyalty, silence, and everything I had until the day she told me she was sleeping with another man and expected me to accept it. I never yelled, I never fought, and I never begged. I just watched everything unravel quietly. What I did next destroyed their world without me lifting a finger. You won't believe what happened in the end. Stay with me and let me show you how it went down. Chris Evans had never been the loudest man in any room. He didn't need to be. His presence spoke in subtler ways. Steady hands, controlled breath, eyes that observed more than they revealed. By day, he fixed pipes, crawled through tight spaces, and handled work most people avoided. By night, he trained at Iron District MMA, where discipline replaced chaos and silence carried weight. Coaches respected him. Fighters feared him. He didn't brag, he didn't celebrate. He simply showed up and endured. At home, silence followed him too, but it felt different there, colder. Scarlett Johansson, his wife of 6 years, moved through the house like a spotlight. Beautiful, ambitious, always on her phone. She barely noticed when he came in, barely cared where he'd been. Chris didn't complain. He believed in patience. He believed effort spoke louder than words. What he didn't know yet was that silence, when misunderstood, could be mistaken for weakness. Scarlett Johansson thrived on motion. Meetings, closings, compliments. Real estate rewarded her confidence and punished hesitation. She loved the attention, the validation, the feeling of being admired. Chris, by contrast, returned home tired, bruised, quiet. He spoke of training and discipline. She heard obsession and embarrassment. "You went to the gym again?" she asked one night, barely glancing up from her phone. Chris nodded. Fight coming up. She sighed, annoyed, as if he disappointed her again. "That cage stuff is violent. I don't get why you still do it." He didn't argue. He had learned long ago that explaining himself only widened the gap. He cooked dinner quietly. She poured wine and scrolled. They shared space, not connection. Somewhere between her success and his silence, the marriage stopped feeling like a partnership and started feeling like a comparison, one she believed she was winning. Ryan Gosling arrived at Scarlett's office with a smile polished to perfection. Stylish, articulate, confident, he blended ambition with charm effortlessly. Assigned to shadow Scarlett, he watched closely, not just her work, but her mood, her sighs, the way her eyes dimmed when she mentioned her husband. "So what does Chris do?" Ryan asked casually during a property tour. "He's a plumber," she said, then added quickly, "and an MMA fighter." Her tone made it sound smaller than it was. Ryan laughed softly, shaking his head. "That must be frustrating." Scarlett didn't answer, but the silence told him everything. Ryan didn't push. He didn't need to. He understood the timing, understood cracks, and most importantly, he understood how powerful it felt to be heard. That day, Scarlett left work feeling lighter, unaware that someone had just stepped into a space Chris had been silently holding for years. At the gym, Chris moved like a machine refined by years of repetition. Every strike was measured. Every takedown was intentional. His coach praised him. His sparring partners admired him. But Chris accepted it all without emotion. Praise didn't move him. Purpose did. Meanwhile, Ryan leaned closer to Scarlett each day. Compliments slipped into conversations naturally. Sympathy followed. He framed Chris's discipline as absence, his silence as neglect. "He should be around more," Ryan said once, shaking his head gently. "You deserve someone present." Scarlett didn't argue. She wanted to believe it. At home, Chris returned late, sore, and focused. She barely looked at him. 2 men occupied her life now. One loud and attentive, the other quiet and unwavering. She didn't realize she was already choosing between noise and strength. The night Scarlett flaunted a $20,000 commission check, she smiled like she'd won something. "1 month," she said proudly. Chris smiled faintly. "That's great." Then she noticed his $2,000 fight bonus on the counter. She laughed, not cruelly, but dismissively. "That's it for getting punched?" Chris picked it up calmly. It's not about the money." She stepped closer, eyes sharp. "Then what is it? Because I'm holding this marriage together." That was the moment something shifted. Chris didn't respond, not because he had nothing to say, but because she finally understood she wasn't listening anymore. Silence settled between them like a verdict neither had officially spoken yet. Scarlett didn't plan the kiss. It happened in Ryan's car, parked under soft streetlights after another long conversation about how unseen she felt. When their lips met, guilt flickered, but was quickly drowned by attention. Ryan felt victorious. Scarlett felt alive. Chris lay awake that night in the spare room, staring at the ceiling. He felt the distance growing, sensed something slipping, but refused to spy, accuse, or demand. He trusted effort. He trusted time. He trusted her. 6 months passed this way. Quick dinners, late nights, secrets disguised as independence. Scarlett convinced herself she deserved this. Ryan convinced her Chris would never notice. They were both wrong. Scarlett chose control over honesty. "I've been seeing someone else for 6 months," she said calmly one night, sitting upright on the couch. "I want an open marriage. Either you accept it or you stay quiet." Chris stared at her, stunned. His chest tightened, but his voice stayed steady. "Who is he?" "That doesn't matter," she replied quickly. "You'd hurt him." Chris almost laughed at that. Instead, something inside him shut off, cleanly, decisively. "You already chose," he said softly. She expected rage, tears, pleading. Instead, he walked past her and closed the spare room door. The click echoed louder than any shout. Scarlett stood frozen, realizing too late that silence could be far more terrifying than anger. From that night on, Chris never raised his voice. He barely spoke at all. He cooked, cleaned, worked, trained, without acknowledging Scarlett's presence. She followed him from room to room, demanding a reaction. He offered none. Doors closed gently. Conversations ended before they began. The silence broke her. This wasn't punishment. This was a withdrawal. Chris had emotionally left the moment she confessed. Each quiet night he planned. New bank accounts, divorce terms, asset division. Strategy replaced emotion. Scarlett tried everything. Meals, apologies, tears. Nothing reached him. He was still there, yet completely gone. Friends and family sensed it immediately. When Scarlett's parents confronted them, Chris calmly admitted the truth. "She's with someone else." The room erupted. Questions, disbelief, anger. But Chris remained composed. Scarlett tried to justify herself, even painting Chris as dangerous. The lie fell flat. Everyone saw it. Her parents didn't shout. Their disappointment cut deeper. When they left, Scarlett collapsed on the floor, sobbing, begging Chris to speak. He didn't. His silence wasn't cruelty. It was clarity. He had already accepted the ending. She was the only one still pretending the story wasn't over. Chris followed Scarlett one night, quietly, from a distance. He watched her walk into Ryan Gosling's house without hesitation. He memorized the address. Then he turned around and went home. No confrontation, no drama. The next day, he hired a private investigator, not for revenge, just facts. And when the truth came back, it was worse than Scarlett imagined. Ryan wasn't a prize, he was a mess. Debt, gambling, lies, insecurity disguised as confidence. Chris closed the file calmly. Scarlett hadn't traded up. She'd traded certainty for noise. And Chris Evans, quiet, disciplined, unwavering, was already preparing to walk away without a word. Ryan Gosling sensed something was wrong the moment Scarlett began asking questions she'd never asked before. Not playful curiosity, investigative calm. She wanted to know about his finances, his past relationships, his temporary debt. Ryan laughed it off at first, charming as ever, but cracks began to show. His stories shifted, dates got canceled, excuses piled up. Scarlett sat in her car one night, reading the private investigator's report Chris had quietly left on the kitchen counter. She hadn't known how to react then. Now she did. The man she risked everything for wasn't misunderstood or unlucky. He was reckless, desperate, pretending. For the first time in months, Scarlett felt fear instead of excitement, and somewhere deep down, she realized Chris had known all along and had let her walk into this alone. Scarlett tried to talk to Chris again, this time softly, carefully. "I made a mistake," she said, standing in the doorway of the spare room. Chris folded his training wraps with methodical precision. He didn't look up, he didn't sigh, he didn't interrupt. When she finished speaking, he waited several seconds before responding. "I heard you," he said calmly. That was it. Those two words crushed her more than yelling ever could. He wasn't confused, he wasn't conflicted. He had listened and chosen nothing. Silence returned, heavier than before. Scarlett finally understood. His quiet wasn't indecision, it was finality. Ryan, sensing Scarlett pulling away, panicked. His confidence turned into pressure. His charm became control. "You're acting different," he snapped one night. "Did he say something to you?" Scarlett stared at him, realizing how small he looked without the mystery, without the secrecy. Ryan needed reassurance, needed validation, needed to win. Chris needed nothing. That contrast hit her like a wave. She had mistaken attention for stability, noise for strength, and now Ryan's desperation repelled her. The affair lost its shine the moment it was exposed to daylight. Chris placed the divorce papers on the dining table one morning, neatly stacked, highlighted, fair. "No lawyers," he said evenly. "No fights." Scarlett's hands trembled as she flipped through the pages. There was no malice in them, no cruelty, just clarity. Asset division, timelines, a clean exit. "You planned this," she whispered. Chris nodded. "I prepared." That hurt more than betrayal. While she was chasing validation, he was building certainty. He wasn't reacting, he was executing a decision he'd made months ago, and there was nothing she could do about it now. Scarlett's reputation cracked quietly. Friends distanced themselves. Her parents stopped defending her. At work, whispers followed her through hallways once filled with admiration. Ryan's problems surfaced publicly. Missed payments, shady deals, office rumors. He spiraled fast. Scarlett tried to detach, but guilt followed her everywhere. She had burned stability for chaos, and chaos never stays loyal. Meanwhile, Chris thrived in silence. He trained harder, fought better, won cleanly. His discipline sharpened. He moved forward without spectacle, without announcements. People noticed. Respect followed him again. Scarlett showed up at Iron District MMA unannounced. She watched Chris train, focused, lethal, calm. The man she had once dismissed now stood grounded, dangerous in his stillness. "I see you now," she said afterward, tears streaking her face. "I was blind." Chris wiped sweat from his brow. "You saw what you wanted to see." She begged then, not loudly, but sincerely, promised change, promised effort. Chris listened, then shook his head. "I don't rebuild things that were abandoned." He walked away. No anger, no hesitation. Ryan Gosling lost everything in rapid succession. Job, reputation, Scarlett. His charm couldn't save him when reality demanded substance. He sent texts Scarlett never replied to, called numbers that went unanswered. Chris never contacted him, never confronted him, never needed to. Ryan's downfall required no assistance, only exposure. The silence Chris maintained had allowed the truth to surface on its own. Noise collapses eventually, always does. Scarlett packed the house slowly. Every room echoed with memories she could no longer escape. Chris moved out first, efficient, emotionless. He took only what he needed. The night before signing the final papers, Scarlett sat alone in the empty living room. No music, no phone, just silence. This time, it wasn't Chris's silence, it was hers. The divorce finalized without drama, no arguments, no theatrics. Chris shook the lawyer's hand and left. Scarlett lingered, staring at the signature she'd written too late. She wanted to say something meaningful, something final. Chris paused at the door. "Take care of yourself," he said, politely. That was the last thing he ever said to her. Years later, Scarlett heard Chris Evans had opened his own gym, that he trained fighters who respected him deeply, that he lived quietly, purposefully, without regret. She never reached out. Some endings don't come with explosions. They come with understanding, slow, painful, permanent. Chris never punished her. He never sought revenge. He simply removed himself, and that silence was the loudest verdict of all.
We have come to the end of the story. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more interesting stories. Have a good one.